It's also Food Waste Action Week, but how can you go about saving food, time and money? Well, let's catch up with Ryan Marshall, the Senior Environmental and Waste Manager at Anglian Waste Recycling, which has a processing plant in Attleborough. And Ryan joins me now. Morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Kaylee. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. I mean, it's amazing. I think I've walked past your plant so many times on a dog walk, and it's incredible, actually, what you've got going on here. But it's interesting. You think with the rising cost of living, food waste would be a thing of the past, but you're still processing plenty, I hear.
Yeah, it's incredible. So the Anglian Group, we're already collecting over 4 tonnes a week of food waste from local areas, which is being processed in Attleborough, which is fantastic. And now there's a real opportunity. Now there's a plant in Attleborough that exists to generate gas and local digestate for land. It's now important more than ever that we capture that food waste. With about 35% of household food waste still going to general waste, it's vital that we divert that.
So what happens? So when you get the food waste in, so this then generates gas, doesn't it? So what's the process there?
So the process is we collect the food waste, we take it into the anaerobic digestion facility in Attleborough. The food waste is then broken down and fed into large tanks where 4 different types of bacteria effectively sort of, eat away at that food, generating gas. And then the 2 byproducts are gas, which is fed into the local grid, so to power homes locally in Attleborough. And the residual material comes out as a digestate, which is then used on local lands as a fertilizer.
I mean, it's clever stuff, this, isn't it? And I know. I think I'm guessing in an ultimate world that we just wouldn't waste and we wouldn't do this. But the fact something can be done about this, it is fascinating. I mean, you must love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And now in Norfolk, we've got the facilities to be able to do it. It's so important now that we start educating people and businesses of the importance of obviously segregating their food waste. It has a huge impact on costs to both households and businesses, but also there's the green perspective as well. Food waste globally contributes to around about 8% of greenhouse emissions. So just with a little bit of work at home and in the businesses, we can make a huge impact on those numbers.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I know you and the team, go out to Norfolk businesses and you've got partnerships and you go out into schools and things. So, I mean, go on. How good are we at recycling in Norfolk? How much are you collecting?
Norfolk aren't doing too bad. So analysis across Norfolk, it shows a recycling rate of around about 40% across households, which doesn't sound very high. But when you compare that to the UK, it's not too bad. But we're still seeing, like I say, huge volumes of food waste going into business and household general waste, which could be used as, could be recycled, which currently isn't. So we've launched the Anglian Green Scheme, which is effectively a scheme that's geared to educate people and businesses. So we've started off in schools, hosting school assemblies, going into classrooms, educating children and families around what they can do at home and in the workplace when it comes to reducing food waste and just overall increasing their recycling rates.
And I know for food waste in particular, you might be living in a part of the county where you're very lucky to have a food waste bin and that gets collected. I mean, I'd love one of those. Yeah. I'd love to be able to actually physically do it. But a lot of the time when you don't have that and composting perhaps isn't the option, you're kind of stuck. I always feel really guilty when I have to throw something in the bin these days. Yeah,
I know. I mean, this week kicks off the Food Waste Action Week, and you can follow that on the WRAP website and on our own website. You'll see, and across all of our platforms, you'll see a lot of great posts coming out, lots of great information about how we can plan, how we can store food better, and how we can sort of love our leftovers. But the great thing now is we've got the facility in Norfolk to be able to treat that food waste, to generate our own gas for local homes. And now with legislation changing, by the end of the year, it's going to become mandatory for those food waste collections to happen. So you might get your food caddy at home and hopefully we'll start collecting even more food and turning that into gas for local homes.
I mean, when you look at the stats on this, I mean, the WRAP website is saying, UK households are facing £3.5 billion each year because of this, whether it's serving too much food or just cooking or preparing too much. And I know we often talk about those little changes we can make. And I know we've heard this with energy bills and everything else. But I imagine that there are some little changes we can make to try and help out with this along the way.
Yeah, there is. There's lots of little changes that can be made, and they contribute to two key factors really, and that is reducing our costs both at home and in the workplace, and increasing our recycling rates. Which in turn reduces greenhouse gas emissions. They're the two key drivers, and everybody can contribute to those within Norfolk and make a huge difference. There'll be some great stuff coming out this week. I won't destroy our own marketing guys, here, but I won't tell you too much, because if you just follow all of our platforms, you'll see some great stuff coming out on how we can educate ourselves and people to reduce our food waste.
I think it's interesting if you sort of go back, I mean, even like 10 years or so now, and sort of go into schools and go into businesses and they do everything from your green scheme, your recycling workshops. I think part of us, I think we are a little bit more receptive to this now. And I think we're already sort of taking those steps to try this a bit more. But I mean, what do you think is the next step? What's the main thing that we can work on for the next couple of years?
For the next couple of years, I think the key is to drive down our food waste, and any food waste that we do have is to get it into a food waste recycling bin, whether that be at home or with businesses. And like you say, Kaylee, at home it's been quite difficult, but with the changes coming, by the end of the year, that will be possible for people at home. If they do produce any food waste, they can get it into a food waste bin. We can get it to a recycling facility, and we can generate gas with that food. And so ensuring that no food waste ends up in general waste, I think that is the key.
Oh, and it's incredible what honestly, I've walked past with the dog and waved at so many of you driving past. I didn't know just the extent of what you do. So if you are on the A11 and you do see the sign in the background near Attleborough, I think a newfound respect for you and the entire team, Ryan. Lovely to catch up with you. Ryan Marshall, Senior Environmental and Waste Manager at Anglian Waste Recycling. So if you just search for that on any search engine, it'll bring you up and the Facebook page and everything there as well. But it's amazing to sort of think how much is going on, and the fact a lot of this food waste being turned into gas as well. So, I mean, I don't know if you've got a food waste bin, how often do you use it? Or maybe like me, just going, I want one of those. Can I have one, please? I want my own food caddy so I can do a little bit more. Oh, honestly, I feel so every time I have to put something in the main bin now. I don't know about you, I just get guilt pangs. I sort of think, I wish I could recycle this a little bit more than I am. So I think we've all got some way to go, but we'd love to hear from you.